congregation now who are also worship associates. Would you raise your hand if you are one of those people that are worship associates? I see some other ones who haven't raised their hands. And I also sometimes help with coffee and things like that. Being part of this church is absolutely wonderful. We are so glad you have chosen to spend your Sunday morning with us. Let us take a collective breath together and appreciate the loving community around us. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Feels better. When I walked into the chapel this morning, I walked in and I thought, oh gosh, how I love this church. And it feels good to breathe together. For those who are gathered in the chapel, I urge you to actually turn off your phone completely to free up bandwidth for the live stream. Our Wi-Fi is wobbly, and we want... I do love children. That's our future, folks. Yay! And a grandchild, which is really cool, Our Wi-Fi is a bit wobbly. We want our online community, both those on now and those watching later, to have as full an experience as possible. If you need a little extra hearing, I better turn my watch off too. Done. If you need a little extra hearing support, we have assisted hearing devices at the usher station in the back of the chapel. Feel free to borrow one for the service. Throughout the month of November, we are sharing the offering with hearts and hands. That is truly faith in action. UU Amherst has been an active supporter of Hearts and Hands, and we have several people in our congregation who serve as volunteers with this community organization that helps to provide rides to seniors for shopping or doctor's appointments, as well as simply providing companionship and a friend to talk to. You can give at any time this month by making out checks to UU Amherst with Hearts and Hands in the memo line, and putting cash in an envelope with Hearts and Hands on the front. You'll find the envelopes in the bench backs throughout the chapel. Checks and envelopes can be included when the offering basket is passed later on in the service.
I'd like to get closer to you. So we're going to bring ourselves fully into this space, fully with each other, with a heart-opening exercise. It's a song, and this song is going to be sort of weaving back in 2 more times throughout the service as we deepen our, our place in this container of love. So we start with our hearts being open wide to the song of the earth, and then it will be to the song of you and the song of my soul. This first time through, you can be seated. You're welcome. In the upcoming cycles, I will ask you to stand as you are able, partly because something shifts in us when we are seated or standing or moving. And so I also invite you, if you're feeling particularly brave, to just make this motion of your heart opening each time we sing it. And so, Rick, if you'll just play the first line, and then we will come in. Here we go. My heart is open, open wide, open wide to the song of the earth. My heart
When we gather, we employ the elements of water and fire to create the sacred space where we can be fully present. The Miles family, all three of them, yay, will be helping with the ceremony today. We begin with an acknowledgement that our church is built on holy ground, land that was nurtured and cultivated most recently by the Haudenosaunee. We offer this libation as our giveaway as we honor the struggle of all people seeking justice and peace. We seek the courage and wisdom to heal the wounds of the past and build a better future story for all our neighbors and fellow creatures together. It is also our custom when we gather to light a chalice. The chalice is a cup or vessel that symbolizes Unitarian Universalism and the gathered community here. The flame represents the spark that each one of us brings to represent the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of our commitment to bring more compassion and justice to the world. Please join me in our chalice lighting words. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of life we share together. Thank you, Quinn.
Rise. Open wide to the pain of the earth. My heart is open. Open wide. Open wide to the pain of the earth. My heart is open. Open wide. Open wide to the pain of you. My heart is open, open wide to the pain of you. My heart is open wide to the pain of my soul. My heart is open wide to the pain of my soul. You may be seated. Each week we make time in our service to acknowledge the joys, the concerns and sorrows that each one of us carries and brings to be placed in this container of love, in this beloved community that has the capacity to hold all that we bring. We embody this by placing a stone or a shell on the table labyrinth. And so I invite you, whether you are joining online and want to get a stone or some special memento to hold in this time, or for those present in the chapel, to come forward as the music plays and to place a stone or a shell in honor of all that you are and all that you bring. Come forward as you will. I place a final stone in recognition of the joys, concerns, and sorrows represented by all who may have chosen to stay seated and those who are joining us online. So let's expand our circle to include those who may not be present, but whose presence we feel. And now expand that circle to those who are experiencing pain in body, mind, or spirit. Those who are feeling lost, overwhelmed, maybe a little bit hopeless. We also bring into this circle of love and care those who are bubbling over with joy and determined hope and resilience. There is room for all of that in this circle of love. May our hearts remain tender even when we would build walls around them to protect ourselves. May we know that these loving resistances are part of rebuilding our world. May it ever be so. Amen and blessed be. We're going to remain seated and sing the final piece of this heart-opening cycle, where our heart is open to love. My friend Steve is going to be helping with our Wonderbox story today. Did someone hear me say Wonderbox? Wonderbox, Wonderbox, Wonderbox? Do you hear what I hear? Oh, hurry, hurry. my goodness. Oh, so I don't imagine you can figure out what I have in my Wonder Box. Can anyone, I don't know, take a wild guess? My Wonder Box has a tail. Oh no, what's in there?
It's a guitar.
Well, okay, it can be a guitar. It's a violin, right? Just like my friend Steve is playing. And he is going to help as we tell a very, very special story. Yeah, and it's okay if this gets mangled. All righty. So, the story that I'm going to tell is a variation on an Aesop tale about a grasshopper and some ants. So the ants were busily working all summer, building their homes and filling them with food for the coming cold. And across the burbling creek, with the tiny wooden bridge, they could hear the grasshopper playing his tiny violin. From sunup to sundown, the ants toiled, busily lifting and carrying and sharing the load. Some of the ants stayed at home to tend to the babies, while others patched and repaired. And of course, there were the ants that marched from sunup to sundown. Across the burbling creek, the grasshopper played, practicing his scales and inventing new tunes, and the ants smiled as they listened. But before too long, the colder winds began to blow, and the ants scurried inside their warm, safe home. There was plenty to eat and nothing to do now but to put up their little tiny ant feet and rest. After a while, they heard a sweet sound outside, followed by a tapping at their door. It was the grasshopper. The ants were very excited to see their friend and quickly invited him in. They drew him close to the fire where he could warm his cold fingers, and they offered him a warm drink. And then everyone settled in close to the cozy fire to listen to the tunes that would sustain them through the long, cold, and dark months ahead. Now, if you've heard the tale of Aesop's ants and the grasshopper, you might have a different idea of how the story ends. In Aesop's story, well, he has the grasshopper just off goofing off all summer, not doing anything productive, not doing a single thing to help out to get ready for winter. And so then when it got cold and the ants were all cozy in their homes and the grasshopper came knocking, they wouldn't let him in. I think I like our story a lot better. Aren't you glad that we have a UU version where the grasshopper's contributions of music and joy are valued, just like the ants' summer activities of food gathering and home building? We need a balance of work and play. We keep love at the center by honoring each one's contributions. And now, we are going to sing you to your class, but maybe could you just give a little bit of applause to my friend Steve? Thank you, Steve. All righty, kids, time for you to head out. It's your song. The spirit of Aesop affirms our rewriting of his tale. Uh-oh. Hey, Miss Katie. Miss Katie. Oh, well. I don't know. All righty. So, a couple of weeks ago, we sang this song. It was a week when our friend Kim Diana Connolly was offering some thoughts on covenant. And so I fully expect that you have the song memorized and you can just join in with great gusto. Do you like my expectations? Yeah. They're adorable, aren't they? So the song is Becoming. And actually, Rick, go ahead and play it all the way through once, and then we'll sing it with great courage and gusto. There are 3 verses. They're remarkably similar. It is a zipper song, which means only a couple of words change. And yeah, I won't tell you all the things. It's okay. So just listen to Rick play and imagine yourself singing. All right, let's stand. It'll give you courage. I am who I'm becoming. I am all I have done. I am what I am dreaming. I've only just begun. Just begun. You are who you are coming. You are all you have done. You are what you are dreaming. You've only just begun. You are who you're becoming. You are all you have done. You may be seated. Rick, at some magic moment in the middle of the sermon, we're going to sing one verse of that again.
Okay.
I like to just, it's a surprise party around here. It keeps everybody on their toes, myself included. We are who we are becoming. Sorry, I went too fast. We are all we have done. We are what we are dreaming, and we've only just begun. If you were ever looking for a concise way to describe our living tradition to others, the way we are living it in a critical time in the world's and our country's histories, these just could be the words you've been looking for. You see, we are not bound by centuries-old creeds. Actually, centuries, that's a little generous. It's been more than a millennium. The most familiar creeds were penned in the late 4th century of the Common Era. We are in the first quarter of the 21st century. Feel free to do the math. Unitarian Universalism was born in 1961, mid-20th century. I'm going to do some century things, so I'll keep telling you things. So its parents were two liberal forms of Christianity that were conceived in the first decades of what would become a world religion. Yes, our history goes back at least to the very beginning of Christianity, when there were many Christianities, plural. Those were born from scraps of gospels and letters long before there was a Bible with a recognized canon, which simply means a collection of books. Unitarianism and Universalism were both deemed to be heresies at the great creedal debate known as the Council of Nicaea in 325 of the Common Era, 4th century. And heretics didn't do so well in the world. Heretics were put to death, often burned at the stake, forcing those liberal understandings of God's love underground until they reemerged at about the time of the Reformation, 16th century. I offer you these century markers not to be cheeky, although that's fun, but to help you get a sense for the journey that our spiritual ancestors made and how the faith that we have shortened to simply you came to be, and how it is growing and changing. So things are about to speed up in our history lessons, so you may want to buckle up. Something big happened to our ancestral parents in these two traditions in the 17th century. They came to America from Europe and England. Unitarianism and Universalism arrived in different forms and under different circumstances, but their arrival was nearly simultaneous. They continued on their separate paths for another 200 plus years, and then their liberal messages began to weave together in good works as they worked together for child labor laws, mental health reform, the creation of the Red Cross, later women's suffrage and labor unions, just to name a few of their individual and combined efforts. So far, we've talked about the important moments in various centuries of the Common Era. The 4th century, when the various Christianities were weeded out and a world religion was born. The 16th century and the Reformation. The 17th century, when the two liberal forms of Christianity known as Unitarianism and Universalism arrived on America's shores, and the 19th century, when they joined forces to effect important social changes. So, to enter the 20th century, let me quote from the preface of our gray hymnal, called Singing the Living Tradition. There's a clue there. The first printing of this hymnal was toward the end of that century, in 1993. And I quote, Our living tradition began the 20th century primarily as a liberal Christianity among Universalists and Unitarians, and ends that same century also embracing the riches of humanism, feminism, mysticism, natural theism, the Jewish tradition, many other world faith traditions, and the skepticism generated by this century's disillusioning woes and wars. For 1900 years, our roots were in liberal Christianity. It's been in just 120 years or so, and truly only the 64 years since the merger, that we have seen a radical change in our theology, being responsive to an ever-changing world. So when we sing, "We are who we are becoming, we are all we have done, we are what we are dreaming, we've only just begun," it is no exaggeration. And of course, if you've been around as much, you'll know that all of this becoming has not been simply theological, although I kind of think everything is ultimately theological. We have been on the front lines when it came to marriage equality, or as we call it these days, marriage. Also, immigrant reform, and proudly taking our place to lift up diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've defined ourselves with covenants, principles, sources, and now values statements. We keep changing and becoming, not because we are wishy-washy or commitment averse, but because the world is constantly changing. And we are people of a living tradition, and that means change. And through all of this, through nearly 2,000 years of exploration, service, and change, Unitarians and Universalists have kept love at the center. For over 1,900 of those years, the center was God's love, believing that no merciful being would consign any of their creation to eternal suffering, and that humans could strive to become more human, because they could follow the teachings and the example of Jesus, who became a full human through the power of God's love. And so here we are, still becoming, still finding our voices and our passion to side with love, to make a difference in a time when each day unleashes new horrors upon the most vulnerable. So this is the moment when we're going to sing that last verse again, please. Just remain seated. We are who we're becoming. We are all we have done. We are what we are dreaming. We've only just begun. We are what we're becoming. We are all we have done. We are what we are dreaming. We've only just begun. Those words have a little more gravitas now, don't they? We are becoming as a people of faith, and we are becoming as individuals, because love is working on us. Here we go. It's too bad our kids aren't here, because they would be able to tell you exactly who this little guy is and what his name stands for. This is JETPIG, and his name is a mnemonic device, a memory game, to help us and our children to remember our UU values of justice, equity, transformation, J-E-T, JET, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity, P-I-G, PIG. JETPIG is adorable. And frankly, what this little stuffy stands for is huge. Too big to wrap our minds around, much less to make offhand promises about living into these values and doing the work that they demand. Here you go, JP. JP, just made that up. Okay. So here's what I mean. So our value statements make up the word JETPIG. So we're going to start with the J, which stands for justice. J is for justice. We work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions within our congregations, our association, and society at large. We can and should do the work of becoming diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. I can say that this is ongoing work and that we will probably never be done because we're never done becoming. Oh, that reminds me of a song. Okay, so it's the next part that is the scary part. We covenant is a sacred promise, we covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. Gulp. That's big. That's huge. We promise to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. There is no phrase with the caveat, right? We promise to do these things in our little space, among ourselves, maybe in our community. I don't know if the folks who penned, this was a group process to come up with these value statements. So I don't know what the thinking was, but this is big. And we, Unitarian Universalists, according to 2020 figures from our National Association, number 153,000 members. I just need to blink at you for a moment because I want that to land for you. It is wonderful. It is amazing and necessary that we covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. But can I just say we can't do it by ourselves, right? I mean, there are not that many of us. So if you ever wondered if becoming a member matters, let me assure you, it most certainly does. Of course, not all people who define themselves as UU belong to a congregation, so our national numbers are thought to be maybe as high as 800,000. Oh, phew, okay, so now we can take care of racism. It's still so big. How can we be faithful to this promise? Well, the graphic that describes our value statements gives us a very clear image of how. By keeping love at the center. Not anger, not vengeance, not even righteous indignation, certainly not violence. We can live into our covenant for justice by keeping love at the center. And let me tell you, love is contagious. So I chose justice for this example because of the level of injustice that is being enacted and perpetrated in our country and in the world. There are a lot of folks who are playing dirty, and the only way that we can live fully into our UU values is not to get sucked into a game of tit for tat. We must keep love at the center to guide our actions. That sounds wonderful, Michelle. Thanks. How are we going to do that? What does it look like to keep love at the center? I don't even know, but you know what? I know that you know. And Marlene is going to walk around to give you an opportunity to share your thoughts. How do we keep love at the center when all around us is so chaotic? And if you raise your hand, she will scamper to you. Aha, there's a hand. And there's a scamper. Very nice.
Well, I think you start at home.
Hold it close to your mouth, please.
I am. Do you want me to?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello, 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 hello,
Hello.
hello, hello, hello. Are you on now?
Who says you're good?
Hello? Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm going to lick the thing. I won't. You start at home, which can be part of the hardest. You know, to look at what's happening at home and what you can do to improve it or diffuse it or whatever, because it's hard to live with other people. It's hard enough to live with yourself. So, yes, start with those who are really close to you.
Thank you. How do we keep love at the center?
I would say take advantage of being with others that share your interest and your passion. And we have a really active justice advocacy team right here in the church where people can come together, talk about what's happening, take action, and kind of act in love.
Thank you.
Run.
That rug's right.
I think that what Wendy said is right. You start at home, but I think you start with you, because we all have things inside of us that we need to inspect, like racism, like discomfort with people who don't look, love, and act like us. We're all raised differently. Sometimes it's inside of us. And in order to say we're going to do this and that with racism and love, well, you got to make sure that you know who you are and some of the obstacles that you have inside of you. You know that, then you're going to do better.
Thank you, Charlie. April's over here.
I love what Charlie said. Also, before you even decide how to love yourself, you have to understand what love is. And especially in our country, we have a tendency to mix up approval and love. Love means seeing things you don't like in yourself and you don't like in other people, and being able to accept that along with the good things and still want the best for yourself, the best for that person. And here's the hard part. The best for that person is they see the best for themselves, because it's not our, how do we not put our own wishes on someone else? Tough.
Thank you. All right. I hope that, we have one more? Excellent.
I'm Pat Burke, and can you hear me okay?
I can.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
perfect, Pat.
The environment has always been important to me, and I feel like that isn't important right now when you see what's going on in the news. So I started reading that book, What If We Did It Right? And I said, oh my God, 500 pages. I can't do that. So I started reading it, and I'm a person that always goes to the library, and I have the library book. I said, I'm buying this book. So now I'm going to read the whole thing.
All right. Well, now we can hold you accountable, Pat. I know that wasn't your plan. Thank you all. Good stuff to think about. And thank you, April, that love is not equal to approval. I need to just... If you're approving, you're not loving. If you're approving, you're not loving. You can still approve of me, y'all. It would be just fine. We can coexist. So something interesting is happening in and to our faith. Since those earliest groups of Christianity that identified themselves as Unitarians and Universalists, all the way to the end of the 20th century, so pretty much that whole timeline that we've been sort of dancing around, we and our ancestors have used the word liberal to define who we are. Our principles and sources were created by and for the liberal religious spirit. And we still embody that big-hearted way of being in the world, and we are answering the call to be something more, to allow the spirit of liberation to be born in us. Liberation, our own and others. Liberation for humans and the more than human that inhabit our planet, and indeed, our planet herself. To be liberal is to start with an inward focus, right? And then it moves out into action. We define ourselves as individuals in a process of transformation. To engage in liberation is to take the focus off ourselves a bit and work for the wholeness and freedom of others. In the midst of that work, we are also transformed. It's just a different starting gate. Does that make sense? Just nod quietly and then I'll know. Thank you, April. You're the only one who nodded. Thank you, LJ. That's how these values statements work. We are not the recipients as much as we are the change agents. This is a radical shift for Unitarian Universalists, and it demands our attention. So we're going to touch so briefly on each of the petals on the values flower. I'm just going to read these statements without commentary, because I think it is different to hear them than to simply read them. Interdependence. Let's call that the web of life. We honor the interdependent web of all existence. With reverence for the great web of life and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. We covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality and justice. We will work to repair harm and damaged relationships. Pluralism. Let's call that differences. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. We covenant to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. Justice. We can just call that justice. We work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions within our congregations, our association, and society at large. Transformation. Let's call that change. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages, never complete and never perfect. Generosity. Let's call that giving. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We covenant to freely and compassionately share our faith, presence, and resources. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. Equity. Let's call that fairness. We declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness, and we covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. You know, Unitarian Universalism might feel kind of cozy, but it's not comfortable. We have never had the luxury of a faith that remains unchanged for 2,000 years. People will try to tell you that you don't believe anything, or that we believe anything we want. And both of those statements are simplistic and false. We believe what we are compelled to believe. We believe that the only way to a sustainable future for ourselves and for the planet is by living a faith that is focused on liberation and keeps love at the center. And you know it's time to sing again. So this is a super easy song. We're going to learn it sitting down, because sometimes you learn better sitting down. And then we're going to spring to our feet and sing it with gusto. So I'm just going to teach it to you like a phrase at a time. So we'll start with, I believe in the power of giving. Here we go. I believe in the power of giving. Really? I know, I'm not giving you words yet. Okay, I'll give you some words. You like them? There we go. Oh! Wow, that was amazing. All right, so now you only have to pay attention to the notes. I believe in the power of giving. Your turn. I believe in the power of giving. I believe in the power of change. I believe in the power of change. I believe in the power of differences. I believe in the power of differences. I believe in love. I believe in love. So that's the verse. And then the chorus goes like this. Love is at the center. Write that. Love is at the center. At the center there is love. At the center there is love. Love is at the center. Love is at the center. At the center there is love. At the center there is love. All right, it's going to be raucous, and we're going to just sing whatever comes out of our mouths. Let's rise in body or spirit, and let's make some noise. Here we go. I believe in the power of giving. I believe in the power of change. I believe in the power of differences. I believe in the power of love. Love is at the center. At the center there is love. Love is at the center. At the center there is love. I believe in the power of justice. I believe in the power of fairness. I believe in the power of Yeah, okay. You may be seated. We'll be better at it the next time, you know that, right?
Wow, I have to tell you, I love that sermon. That's me. Thank you. Before we invite you to participate in an act of reciprocity and generosity, we're going to hear a few words from the Amherst members, Steve and Michelle Biela. En español, Biela.
Good morning. Thanks. Reverend Michelle gave us a couple of minutes to talk about congregations funding our future and to share how much we've loved UU Amherst. The seeds of our personal UU story all started in 1979 in Park Forest, Illinois, near Chicago. As newlyweds, one ex-Lutheran and one ex-Catholic, we joined our first UU congregation. We'll always remember the naming ceremony for our son Michael at that time. Fast forward, after moving to Western New York a few years ago, we decided to join this congregation. There are so many things that drew us to UU Amherst, it's hard to name them all. The overall thing has been the spirit and sense of community.
The labyrinth ceremony touched our hearts. And one particular minister brings spirituality, truth, justice, and humor together in one beautiful pie. We found it easy to participate and check out what was going on. And there's music, of course, and also the UU Garden, the Green Justice Group, the Church of the Wild, and helping with the children in faith development and all that fun. The dedicated food pantry for us is like a shining star in the larger community. And you bet we love the spaghetti dinner, helping out with that, and so enjoy just the fellowship at coffee hour. Nowhere else in Buffalo, and I did grow up here as well, but nowhere else in Buffalo have we met such wonderful, interested, and interesting folks of all ages.
So it's pledge time, and when we pledge, we're throwing our support toward the volunteer efforts here in our UU community and the wider community.
And it is voting season, so when we pledge or donate financially, we're voting for this inclusive, caring, and activist community that holds up love, truth, and justice for all people. Thanks.
Steve and Michelle, thank you for your inspiring testimonial. We are so glad that you've made UU Amherst your home. And now it is our turn. We are a generous and thoughtful people, and it is with gladness that we affirm and promote our hope-filled faith. We support the work of this congregation with our time, our talents, and our treasures. And that includes both our pledges and our offerings on Sunday mornings. The offering will now be gratefully received. We began our service with the lighting of the chalice, and now with Gabe, sorry, Gabe, that's not Luke, that's Gabe. Hi, Gabe. Gabe's help, we extinguish the chalice, not to quench the flame, but to return it to our individual hearts, strengthened by the time spent together, so that we can share it with, share our light as we go out in the world. Please join your voices with mine. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. As our service draws to an end, our service to the world is ready to begin. You'll find many opportunities for growth and service in your order of service and this week and on our website. And I would like to invite Vicki to come forward and talk to us about an opportunity that our food pantry is offering to you.
Hi, I'm Vicki Garcia, and I'm a volunteer for the Little Food Pantry here located at UU Amherst. As you know, as SNAP benefits are iffy and possibly definitely delayed, the need we have seen in the pantry has increased already, and we expect that it will increase even more. So we're doing a fundraiser by doing a Super Bowl pool. I will be in the Emerson room, and someone will be in the Emerson room every Sunday until the squares are sold. There's 100 squares. They're $50 a piece, so if that's a bit much for you, hopefully you could find a friend to go in with you and share that square. The payoff is $150 for the first quarter, $300 for halftime, $150 for the third, and $500 for the final. So I hope you could consider making this donation for this fundraiser for the Amherst Little Food Pantry. It truly is a worthwhile cause, and I've been so excited to be a part of it. Thank you.
What Vicki didn't tell you is that about 20 of them have already been sold. So make sure, you get in there, and I know I'm already going to be doing one. Betty and I are sharing a square, just in case you wanted to know. Please take a moment to look at your order of service. You'll see that this month is filled with opportunities to live our UU values with a Not Black Friday book and gift sale. This is going to be fun, and it supports us. A counterculture slow retreat. I am signed up for that one. Need it badly. And an opportunity to gather in community for a shared Thanksgiving dinner. And now put your order of service in your bag or your pocket so you can add these events to your calendar when you get home. This also helps us keep the chapel tidy and clean. So, and ready for the next group event. All are invited to stay after for coffee and conversation in the Emerson room, just through the double doors in the back of the chapel and also in the lobby. There is a kid-friendly zone at the window at the end of the room. And now, please rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing blessing. Don't forget to twinkle your eyes and share smiles with one another during the third verse. Remain standing afterward for the benediction.
We are, therefore we love. We love, therefore we are. May we be humble before the wonder of what we dare to create. Go in peace, make a difference.